Honky Tonk Hippie, Dani Kerr to perform on America's Got Talent on Tuesday. It wasn't that long ago that musician Dani Kerr was telling people in her theatre class at West Iredell High School that she enjoyed working behind the scenes and could never see herself on stage. On Tuesday she'll be on a big stage in America's Got Talent with millions of people watching on NBC at 8 p.m. "I don't know if it was just the adrenaline or what, but it felt like I was in a dream," Kerr said as she explained the whirlwind of interviews, performances, and everything else involved in the process as she and manager Susan Levy-Rash traveled to California for the show. "When I got there I started to experience nerves and luckily Susan was with me. But by the time it was time to do my audition, I felt so comfortable. Everybody made me really feel welcome and they really want you to do well on that show. They're very supportive of what you do." Kerr said the experience was surreal for her but one that ultimately didn't faze her as a performer when she was on stage. While she may have felt comfortable once it was time to perform, the whole experience was a mix of lifelong dreams and reality TV. Kerr remembers watching Simon Cowell on American Idol when she was growing up as the reality show dominated television. "I was fascinated by Simon, always loved Simon, and really wanted, like a silly life goal to sing in front of him someday," Kerr said. She said before she knew it she was back in Statesville, but that the surreal experience of performing in a room with Cowell and the other judges watching for a television show isn't something she'll forget. "It was a magical time." The soon-to-be 24-year-old said she was naturally drawn to music from a young age but the band My Chemical Romance was one of the first bands she became obsessed with. She tried playing guitar and it didn't click for her at the time, but she was singing to herself in her room as a middle schooler. "She wasn't ready for even her family to hear," she said. "She would learn flute and piano and sing more in middle school but I still wasn't singing in front of anybody cause I was terrified." What she described as turbulent situations in her life would make pursuing music publicly or privately difficult, but it eventually led to the first steps on stage. "After some crazy situations and growing up and learning a whole lot of hard lessons, I got back to music after a short stint and finally got the courage to do it in front of people," Kerr said. "I still wasn't playing guitar, I did karaoke at Sasha's on the Lake, which is now Waterside Bar and Grill, and I was like, if I hate this, I'll never do it again." Turns out she didn't hate it. "I was shaking, the whole entire time my voice was shaking, my hands were shaking. But as soon as I got done it was like this rush of adrenaline. I just wanted to keep tasting so I kept doing it." That rendition of Hotel California and learning the guitar would open the door to opportunities to play locally as she found support from other musicians and she began in earnest. Her first gig came at Broad Street Burger and would end up being the first of many as she has continued to perform for 4 years since then. She credited WAME, the Iredell Arts Council, the Grassroots Entertainment Group, and others locally for providing her support while she found her footing as a musician. Another one of her biggest supporters is Rocky Lynn, who recorded and produced the album Honky Tonk Hippie Side 1 with her at Tone Studios in Statesville. The album is available now on Spotify. With the America's Got Talent performance, they are looking to release the second half sooner than originally planned. "It's a high-class problem to have," Lynn said. Perhaps the judges on America's Got Talent heard what Lynn heard when he first listened to Kerr sing. "Once in a generation, someone is born with a voice that you can recognize the second you hear one note out of it. There are lots of good singers and there are lots of people who have lots of skill but Dani Kerr was born with a voice," Lynn said. "The second you hear her sing, you know exactly who she is. And I was just floored by it when I met her. She could sing the phone book and you would want to ask her to sing it to you again." The sound of her voice was something manager, and Lynn's wife, Susan Levy-Rash heard as well.